morning, listeners. Let's greet the day. It's Jim Lowenstern. I'm glad you could join us today on my radio talk show. About a month ago, we had a couple of guests on the show that we wanted to stay with us as we recorded a second 1 hour show that afternoon. Those guests were Harold Brown, the #1 landlord in Boston, and his lovely wife, Maura. I found out that on that last show that there was no way to have Harold and Maura on for just 1 hour. I had a dozen questions prepared for Harold, and the show was over before I got through 50% of them. So, without wasting another second of our precious time with the Browns today, let's get the show started right now. Hi, Maura. Hi, Harold. How are both of you today?
Good, Jim.
Good.
Thanks for having us here.
Glad to have you. I want to thank both of you for making time to join me again. It was lots of fun the last time. I think I learned something about Tomsk and Omsk in Russia, or Siberia, if I recall. Tomsk has warmer weather, and your family is originally from Omsk?
Omsk.
Omsk?
Omsk and Tomsk. Like Brookline and Newton. Same thing.
You know, it was funny because I looked on Wikipedia and I was trying to find the difference, and the only real difference I could find was the temperatures. They were in the middle of nowhere, and I guess that's about all I found out. So there are some great stories I want to get into with you, if that's okay, Harold.
Certainly.
Okay. So let's go back to 1981, and there were protests on rent increases that you were renting properties in. I guess it was pretty much Allston, and this was in Boston Magazine. So don't blame me for the quotes. It sounds funny to me today that people would picket a rent increase. Don't rents go up every year? Isn't that why people eventually buy?
Well, that is true. Rents do go up every year. This particular incident, which was publicized in the paper, was actually very interesting because it was discovered later that they were picketing the wrong landlord. They picketed us by mistake. It was not our building they were picketing.
That is funny. So when they figured that out, well, that's not the way the story went, but I'll get back to it. At least that's not the way it was written. So once they found out it was the right landlord, did they just, I mean, you were the wrong landlord, did they just include you in the picket anyway?
No, they just went to the right building.
They just moved next
They
door.
never apologized for that.
Okay, because that's not how the article wrote. The article says that you lured one of the leaders of the picketing group away with a job.
That is true.
Then after 100 of them stopped paying rent, you went to court to evict them. Does that stuff happen? Well, first of all, is any of that second part true?
It is partially true. There was one person in that group that I was so impressed with his presentation and administrative skills that I offered him a job, and he took it.
Did he become a spy in the?
No, not at all. No, he was very nice. In fact, he worked for us for about 10 years, and then he went to another company.
Okay.
As far as 100 not paying rent taken to court, that is a total nonsense.
Really?
An utter untruth.
Boston Magazine.
They're totally wrong.
It was entertaining reading anyway.
Totally wrong.
So that sort of thing, does it happen today? Does it still happen where groups of tenants get together and sort of come up against the landlord?
I'm sure that happens. We haven't had that happen to us since this one incident, which was back in 81, so that's 30 years ago. We haven't had that for 30 years.
Was that...
one of the main reasons for that is that our whole modus operandi and our vision has always been rents from 5 to 15% below the market. So we are not the highest rent levels.
And if you stay below the market, that reduces your vacancy rate, I would guess.
It reduces it, yes, absolutely.
So at the end of the day, you charge less, but you actually probably profit more. Okay. Was that back in 1981, were we still in the middle of rent control in Boston?
I don't recall when rent control vanished.
Maura, you must know the date.
I don't know that
It
answer.
must be right on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah.
Okay, Harold, I have a great one for you. Go back. Remember the Hotel Terrain? I think we touched on it on the last show. 62 Boylston.
Yes.
This again, Boston Magazine is a great article. They quoted you as saying the building when you bought it was 65% hookers. Actually, it might have been prostitutes.
We call them women of ill repute.
Okay. Well, Boston Magazine, I think, said you said hookers. And 35% vacant.
Yes.
Was that about right?
Yes.
So it was basically a huge brothel, basically,
You could look
with room to expand the business.
it was well, actually, it did have a pornographic movie house also.
Oh, okay.
They two kind of complemented each other.
Absolutely. And do you remember what you paid for the building?
$1.5 million.
$1.5 million. And the report is that you've been offered $60 for it.
Yes.
That's good. That's good. So the question is this: how did you get rid of the hookers?
Well,
the women of ill repute.
It was interesting. We evicted them, and when that happened, the then head of the Chinese local association, whom I knew, I would rather not mention the name, but was very upset because he claimed that I had kicked out his girlfriend. So we did reinstate her for political reasons.
Okay, so you got rid of 64%
Right.
of it.
And then
kept the one.
We rented the rest of the building. We also went in to see the then mayor, who was Kevin White, who was very good, and explained to him that we were paying more in taxes than the whole gross rents we were getting.
Right.
And they reduced the taxes to make it more equitable.
Okay, so I guess it was easy to get rid of the past tenants.
Right.
Now the new tenants are there. How long did it take before the reputation of the building was truly in the past and the building started to show a profit?
I would say 3 to 4 years.
And did you have to put much of an investment into it?
Yes, we probably, over the years since we bought it, have probably invested about 10 or 15 million back into the property for putting in interior air conditioning, heating, new roofs, new lobbies.
What is it, like luxury rentals now?
No, it's moderate rentals, and it's a matter of fact. We had a residential meeting this morning. There's a waiting list of 44 people to get into the building. Oh.
Interesting. You talk about waiting lists. So a lot of your properties have waiting lists. I can't fathom, like, my brokers say, okay, I've got this unit, and I rented it, and we had 2 applicants come forward, but they're leaving their name on a list. They
Right.
want to get into that particular apartment.
Yes.
People want specific reason.
Yes.
And they're, what kind of lifestyle are they living where they can wait for that building? They can just tenants at will. They'll move anytime.
Well, they might be, say, a graduate student at Boston University, and they want an apartment in September, but they're looking for it in April or May, so they want to get on a waiting list to get there. And
so there's a lot of turnover in some of these buildings.
And we go by order in the waiting list.
Got it. If you have enough units.
Unless they're one of your friends, then we move them up.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Harold. So you mentioned Kevin White as being a good mayor.
He was a very good mayor, very fair, very honest.
And you've had relationships with other mayors along the way?
Yes, I have.
And any others that were good or great? Any that weren't so good?
Well, I think the current mayor, Menino, is doing a very good job. He's really rehabilitated the city. He's done a great job in downtown Crossing, getting that uplifted, and he's a very good mayor. He's a man of the people, so to speak.
Okay. So let's say that you've had some tough, let's call them learning experiences. Everyone has them. I don't love making mistakes, but somehow you get stronger and smarter by making the mistakes sometimes.
Nietzsche, the German philosopher.
Yeah.
That which doesn't destroy you makes you stronger.
Right. And no one does everything perfectly. So you need to draw outside the lines every now and again. Maura knows the story before I ask the question, I guess. In 1986, let's say you tried to expedite a building permit, and it sounds like someone might have set you up. Someone might have they might have been out to get you. And I almost hate asking it, but it makes it even more interesting because of the challenges that you face and the struggles along the way. How did you feel about those times back then, and how do you look at them now? I hope you don't mind that.
Not at all. No, as a matter of fact, it was a very interesting situation. It was a property in Brighton that the local community, it had been a tire store and a tire storage depot, and the local community wanted us to rehab it into townhouses, 60 townhouses, and we were in process of getting the permit for it, and the then building examiner was holding up the permit, which was costing me about $10,000 or $15,000 a month, and at that time, that was a lot of money. And he made it known that he would move things along if I paid him some money. So I did.
So, going back to this, it sounds like, well, at some point, do you think he really thought that he could get away with asking you for the money and getting the money, or was it?
He had been. That was, at the time, apparently, that was going on. I was,
So he kind of got caught. And
but,
in order to
everyone,
save his own
everyone got caught,
hide,
right.
He threw you under the bus, so
right,
to speak.
Right.
Wow. So that was the way things were done then. It was acceptable? It was expected? Or when you first found out about this, were you a little surprised, but you went along with it?
Well, it was the first time I had been subjected to this, and I assumed it was acceptable, and that was the way it was done. And I very stupidly went along with it.
Wow. Okay. So in the late 1980s...
But I did get the permit.
You got the permit. You got a couple articles in the paper.
Right.
A few.
Free publicity.
You had your day in court. What exactly happened in that whole debacle at the end? I'm sure.
Well, I pleaded guilty to giving a bribe to a building examiner, and I was put on probation.
No mug shots, nothing like that. It was just like a bench warrant for.
It passed.
How much? 25.
25,000.
This too will pass.
That's a minor speed bump.
And that particular complex has a waiting list also.
So it was well worth the speed bump. So the same article says back in the late 1980s says you had a personal fortune of $500 million. Is that a accurate?
It depends on what day it was.
Right, because one day it was $500 million, the next day it was zero.
Next day it was bankrupt.
Negative.
I mean,
$500 million.
that's the real estate business. I mean,
well, yes and no, and it's more like the stock market. The stock market has these wild gyrations. It goes up and down. Hundreds of points.
Well, it depends.
A day.
If you're looking for a mortgage, you're worth $500 million. If someone wants to borrow money from you, you're bankrupt.
So, I would. I'm sorry. I'm a little slow on the
got
jokes.
To laugh at
I will laugh more.
Jim, you want to laugh at my jokes?
I will laugh more, Harold. So, so your personal fortune went from $500 million to zero, depending on how you look at it, very quickly.
Right.
Well, how did that happen? Was it that you ventured more into commercial from residential, or?
No, actually, there was a good reason for it. I forget the actual timing. I guess it was the late 80s. That was a time where the banks had a great deal of money. We were in very good stead with the banks then, as we are now, and they just wanted to lend us money. And in fact, I recall financing a group of properties for $60 million, and the mortgage officer at the bank called me up and pleaded with me to take another $10 million, and I said, I really don't need it. He says, I've got to get this money out by the end of the month, please. So we took it, and that happened all over the place, and as a result, we kept buying more and more properties.
That's predatory lending.
Is.
You should have sued them.
Well, I'm not into lawsuits, but at any rate.
But $10 million, it had to be secured against property.
It was secured against the same property. So then what happened was then the market hit one of the down cycles, which real estate does, goes up and down. And in the down cycle, our loan-to-value ratio was not, whereas before it might have been like 60, 70% loan-to-value, went up to 90%, or where the values were the same as the mortgage. And the banks had to, by law, foreclose.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even though you were current on payments?
Even though you were current on payments, they had to foreclose. And
that doesn't make any
sense. And that's when we went into, we did a chapter. It doesn't, but that's the way it was. We went to a Chapter 11 reorganization, which we emerged from. Only, I guess, less than 5% of the people emerged, but we were very strong, and we were dealing with 30 banks, and they all wanted us to stay in there. And so we kept most of the properties and refinanced them, and today we're stronger than ever.
So are the properties literally underwater like we know the term today, or was it just no equity?
No, it's just some of them were not making full mortgage payments, but the banks could have modified the mortgages, but some of them didn't. But ultimately, we worked out a program with all the banks where they all got paid.
Well, that brings up a question that I have about the whole reorganization. So this happened in 1991, and so you have all this equity, and then somehow the market crashes, basically.
Yes.
The real estate market, Bank of New England failed, and there was the Resolution Trust and all that. Were your properties seized at all, or did
no? We went into a Chapter 11. They could not seize them.
And then they protected you.
And then we did a workout with the banks.
So when you get this workout, do you negotiate in such a way that you got cash in the workout too?
No, the way the workout works is the bank modifies the mortgage. They may reduce the interest rate or eliminate the principal payments so that you can make mortgage payments for a period of years. In that case, it was 3 years.
But you said you were current.
Yes, we were then current.
You were current
with the modifications. We were current.
Oh, okay. So that was. I guess what I'm trying to say is, it sounds like the value of the properties had gone down, the equity had been diminished, and at some point you realized it was a good business decision to go into bankruptcy to renegotiate.
We call it reorganization.
Well, renegotiation.
A Chapter 11 reorganization. Yeah.
I mean, it's like if you owe $100,000 to the bank, you're in trouble. If you owe them $1 billion, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Did you take advantage? I mean, you should if you can. I mean, I'm not saying that the banks are your friend necessarily.
No, we had at the beginning, we had a major meeting. I think it was 32 banks and myself and my attorneys, Bob Soma, who handled our legal end of it. And it was determined that the underlying properties, the intrinsic value was very good, and there was a great ability to pay. And with the modifications, we would pay, and they would give us 3 years to work it out for values to go back up. And that's what we did.
Okay. So you renegotiated. There was no cash. So all the mortgages were rewritten pretty much, except for a few of the banks.
A lot of mortgages, I'd say maybe 50% of the mortgages were rewritten. The rest were fine the way they were. They just stayed that way.
Okay. All right. So you come out of the reorganization and really no major bumps along the way?
No, actually, the reorganization was probably the best thing that ever happened to us, because as a result of it, we computerized our whole operation. And where we ran it before like a Tunaville trolley, we were in the modern age, and so we're very advanced in all of our systems now. And it worked out very well for us.
Forced you to focus.
It forced us to become modern.
To really organize.
Right.
And so at that point, everything then went computerized and much more efficient.
And in addition, we learned the very big lesson not to over-mortgage. So today, we are incredibly strong. Our loan-to-value is probably 60%, which is, we could suffer a 38% reduction in rents and still be alive.
So, okay, right now, in your opinion, Harold, values are going up again?
We are on the up cycle. We're about 30% up on the new up cycle, which will last another 4 to 10 years before it turns around again.
Right.
We'll know in about 3 years what's going to happen.
Okay, so in the up cycles, and if we're up now, do you take advantage of, well, we have near zero interest rates now. Do you renegotiate those mortgages?
As much as humanly possible.
Okay.
For the reason you just said, because rates are at a historical low, and even though the Fed say it's going to last till 2014, we think they'll go up the end of this year.
Yes, but probably not too much.
We're not sure.
I've heard varying reports. The economy is not that strong, and
depends who wins the election.
Okay, well, maybe we'll get into a little bit of the politics that you bring up in the next segment. We're going to take a short break. This is Jim Lowenstern. I'm with Maura and Harold Brown today, and we invite you to come back in just a couple of minutes. Thank you.
You look and you look through neighborhood after neighborhood. You go up and down streets, into cul-de-sacs, and around every bend. Then one day you slowly pull up and finally see it. Your house. At Wells Fargo, we're with you when you're ready to find the house. In fact, we're with you in every stage of home ownership, from planning to purchasing to well after you own your home. Our free preferred payment plan service is a great example. You can automatically tie your payment schedule to your paydays. It's convenient and completely free. The program may even help you pay off your mortgage faster. Let us help you find the mortgage that fits your needs. Talk with a Wells Fargo home mortgage consultant today. We're ready to help and answer all your mortgage questions. Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far. Wells Fargo Home Mortgage is a division of Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., equal housing lender.
For more information, please contact your local Wells Fargo home mortgage consultant, Jason Bonarigo, at 617-363-4617.
Is your home suffering from any sort of water damage? Are you in need of a proper roof replacement? If so, you need Capstone General Contracting. We specialize in water and fire restoration, roofing and siding, additions and remodeling. Offering valuable contracting services and exceeding your expectations is our promise. Contact us at 508-799-4463 or through our website, gccapstone.com.
When you are looking to buy or sell real estate and you are looking for the right realtor to do business with, NewEnglandProsperity.org is a nationwide network of carefully selected brokers who are willing to give both you and your favorite charity a large portion of their commission. These brokers are only too happy to donate to a charity and to credit you back money to help with things such as your mortgage closing costs, title insurance, moving expenses, and more. When you're starting to look for a realtor first, go to NewEnglandProsperity.org and sign up. You'll be referred to a broker who will have your interests first first and who will also credit you and donate to charity. Look them up at newenglandprosperity.org. And when you sign up on their website, you can expect a top broker to return to you with the call to begin discussing the next steps in your selling or buying process. newenglandprosperity.org brokers make it easy to buy and sell real estate, and they make it easy for you to pay for your closing costs because they pitch in with a piece of their commission and they make charitable contributions. For all of the information, just go to newenglandprosperity.org. We are changing the way America buys and sells real estate.
Castles Magazine, an in-print and online magazine and database of exceptional properties, is available to you 24/7 at castlesmag.com. Considered by Google to be the online authority of luxury real estate, castlesmag.com is the best way to search for properties anywhere in the world when you are looking for your dream home, and the best realtors to help you with your search. Castles Magazine and castlesmag.com. One in print and one online, and always at your service. Not just opening doors, opening the doors that you dream of.
All right, welcome back. This is Jim Lowenstern. Jim Lowenstern Radio Talk Show. I've got Maura Brown and Harold Brown in the studio with me. And Harold, I was reading a quote, and you were using the F word to describe the seller and broker on a deal near the Berkeley School of Music. Somehow, if I recall in the article, the seller and value on the parking that came with the building. Do you see that often when deals come across your desk? It seems like you often see value where other people miss it. And Maura, the question for you is, does Harold use the F word around the house often?
Never.
Just when he's being quoted by magazines.
I don't remember him using it, really.
Okay, so another mistake in the magazine. But, Harold, even your first building, you saw like 6 units being, 15 units now?
We subdivided the units into 15.
I have a good memory, see?
Very good
Was
memory.
it 6?
Excellent.
6 units?
It was 6 originally.
Wow, okay. And no notes. So do you see, is it often like that deals come across your desk and you go, wow, that's just super, they missed all that land? Or
Well, that, of course, is the key to success in real estate, and that is to find out, to get a property that is undervalued. The owners don't realize that you can do something with it. You can increase the value, and that's the key to successful real estate.
How important is being a tough negotiator in creating value too?
Well, I think the word tough negotiator is misused. I mean,
I know some tough negotiators. If it's misused for you, I'm not saying you are. I didn't hear that you're not a tough negotiator.
No, I've been told that I'm a tough negotiator, but actually I think I'm a pussycat.
Okay, so I guess that's the question. Are you?
Please.
So more, you disagree? He's not a pussycat?
Only with her.
Okay. So you're a tough negotiator in business, pussycat at home.
No.
The other way around.
It's the other way.
Really?
It's the other way around, actually.
Oh, really? Interesting. And more, that's been going on for how many years now?
Long time. Long time.
Wow. All right. So then there's the story about Ming's Asian Supermarket. Remember Ming's?
Yes, I do. It's still there.
You said you were afraid for your life during a public hearing for your plan to convert the building into 77 new apartments.
Actually, that wasn't quite. It was true, but not quite true. It was a hearing with the local community to build a 7-story apartment building above Ming's, and the local residents came out in force. They were very upset. They wanted to keep Ming's the way it is, and at one point in the hearing, an associate of mine named Enrique Dara was up speaking, and one of the guards, who was very upset, pulled out a gun. I thought they were going to shoot him. Not me. It was Enrique. But he never did. Enrique's still
Just
here.
showed him the
In
gun.
fact, I saw him this morning at the gym. And we never did build it, and that was the best thing that ever happened to us.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
even years later, it's still the same.
Yeah, sometimes the best deal you can make is the deal you don't make.
How so?
How so? Because the property itself has increased in value tremendously. It has a very good cash flow, and the future is very, very brilliant for the whole property.
So in the end, you decided not to evict the supermarket and raise the rent.
Well, we're never going to evict them anyway. We're going to build above them, build through them.
Okay,
But
just
we
put
just
huge
it was too much work. This way,
steel
just stay the way it is.
posts
yeah.
in the middle of the
Pay down the mortgage and.
pet food aisle. Do you find yourself mellowing, or are you just handling challenges and opportunities?
I find
differently
myself
these days?
excessively mellowed.
Yeah,
I have to catch myself.
it's still fun though, right?
What,
The business. Well,
the business is fascinating. It's like creating a painting. We provide housing, we provide jobs, and we have 2 charitable organizations now, which give out a lot of money to the different communities, and it's fun and it's worthwhile.
So which do you like more, making money or giving it away?
Well, you have to make it to give it away.
Making money.
You like making it better.
Well, I like both.
I mean, and you have enough now, you can give more away, too.
Well, I won't say that. I gave most of it away. I have very little left, actually, now.
The IRS isn't listening today. Don't worry, Hal. Oh, so you built in Coolidge Corner. Let's see. I'm trying to tie this in. You joked about it using a Yiddish word. Can you remind me what the whole point of that monument is?
Well, the point of the monument is I was really grew up most of my life in Brookline. I like Brookline very much. We own property in Coolidge Corner, and in fact, we own that particular block. And I wanted to do something for the.
Okay, so the building that you put it on, you own.
We own the building,
okay.
but we paid for the monument. It was approved by the selectmen in the town. In fact, we got an award for it, and it's very beautiful.
Who designed it?
David, what's the guy's name? David Bronson? The guy that designed it. What was his name?
Sorensen? Forget his name. Sorensen or something like that.
Yeah.
But a sculptor.
It's
Right.
a sculptor, yeah.
Right.
And what's it made out of? Like aluminum?
It's stainless steel.
Stainless steel.
And in the base of it, in the bottom, in 100 years, they're supposed to open it up.
Oh, right.
And it has the history of Brookline and my head and shoulders photo.
Good.
Grandchildren can see it.
So, well, I hope we're all there when they open it up.
It's a beautiful thing, and it really has spruced up Coolidge Corner.
I think so. I think that intersection is perhaps one of the most beautiful and, let's say, iconic in the whole
Right. In fact,
Boston area.
Capital One is opening up right underneath that statue.
What was there before? Was it like a?
It was a
Liquor store?
liquor store.
Liquor
A
store.
wine store. Yep.
Wine stores. This is an improvement.
And they're gone.
Yep.
So let's talk about your foundations. Harold, you and Maura do wonderful things for the community. Seems that Coolidge Corner, in many ways, owes you a lot. In addition to that spire and the Coolidge Corner Theater, what else have you done for the town of Brookline that you'd like to talk about?
Well, we get requests from various communities, Alston, Brookline, even Newton, and we have a board of 3. Jameson Brown is the chairman. Maura is one of the trustees, one of the 3 trustees, and Freddie Lebo, and they approve or disapprove of these applications. Now, one we just recently did for Brookline was the
The
bracelet.
Alzheimer's, the bracelets for
For
Alzheimer's.
people, for people that have Alzheimer's, we funded, how much was it? 20,000.
20,000.
20,000 to buy
The
bracelets
police
for these
department
people.
were really interested in doing this, so to put on these people when they disappear and they can find them. So this is a first. I don't think any other community has it yet. I think Brookline's is the first doing it.
Is it like GPS?
Yeah, GPS,
Yeah,
right.
It's like LoJack, yeah. Chief O'Leary, the
I put one on Harold, so I know where he is all the time.
but it's a great thing because these people they wander off. You can find them.
Yeah, it's good. That and the senior center's been a great thing. We
Yeah.
gave a bus van for the senior center so they can do things, and
The West-
exercise rooms.
The West End House, Moore did a fundraiser for the
so
West End House. They got more than they wanted. That's a
And my business out of Newton, and I'm just curious, the city of Newton or some...
I brought up Newton for your benefit. We actually haven't given them anything.
I'm glad. They really don't need a penny. Why waste it?
We're asking them for donations.
There's like an organization like Second Step that operates out of...
Yeah,
second step,
It's Second Step, yeah.
And then
success for success.
we just gave you Steps for Success.
Cradles
It was
and
a big
crayons.
fundraiser. Cradles to crayons. We have a whole host of things we can give to them. It's a full-time
Yeah.
occupation.
And South Shore, because we have stuff in the South Shore.
Situate.
Right. Situate.
So there's a great Live, Love, and Learn group of women. They give money to families that have cancer and their children and help them out, pay their bills. So
So it sounds like maybe all the foundations, that's just as important as the real estate these days to you.
Yeah, because it's worthwhile. I mean, it makes really life have some purpose. Now, last night we had a presentation to a local community group because the Charitable Foundation is building an apartment building. The Charitable Foundation bought a parking lot on Boylston Street. It is now building an apartment house on that. And the proceeds from the apartment house will go to the Charitable Foundation and be
Nice.
given to the community. And I must say the residents loved it. They love us giving them our money.
Any
Who
other
doesn't?
big... I'm sorry, Martin, yeah.
no, I just said who doesn't?
Give me a
What
scope.
other big projects are you breaking ground on these days that you'd like to talk about?
Well, there's that one.
Any
Oh yes,
research and development or commercial?
We're converting a existing office building we own in downtown Crossing into an apartment house. We're in the middle of construction now. It'll be available September 1st. We'll have it probably totally rented before it's completed.
Do you have any projects in Kendall Square?
Yeah, well, we have one. We built an apartment building there a year ago, 50 units.
On Rogers Street, is it?
No, it's
Oh,
on
another one.
110 Second Avenue. It's fully rented. And we have
I think I remember seeing that building. It's a beautiful building.
right. And we have several other projects we're bidding on, housing, things like that.
Does your company do most of its business in renting, or is there a division that does condo sales as well?
No, we have done condo sales in the past, but we're more into renting. Residential, multifamily, and commercial.
I'll bet that you look at old projects and that you sold, like condo projects, and you probably run the numbers on what it would have made over time as rents and the values have gone up or whatever.
You have brought up the most painful subject in my life.
Well, I'm glad I did. That's my job.
We have probably
Let's-
converted.
let's
We have
dig
probably
into that.
converted. Oh, we through?
No,
Oh,
no.
we have probably converted 3,000 or 4,000 apartments into condos. I wish we hadn't.
So the ones that you sold, you wish you just built
Kept them as rental.
rented them, never sold.
Right.
That's what they say for the most part. You should just buy
And hold.
and hold.
And hold. The grandchildren will love it.
Okay. What do you think of the future of multifamily homes in general in Boston? Let's just talk about Boston.
Well, in Boston, of course, the market is probably the best in the whole country. And as you know, real estate has its cycles up and down. It's always been for the last 150, 200 years. We had a down cycle in 2007, 2008, 2009. at the bottom of the down cycle was when we bought about $200 million worth of new property. But now we're about 30% up in the up cycle. Multifamilies in big demand and will be increasing until there are about 4,000 new units under construction now.
Oh yeah,
in Boston suburbs.
We'll talk about that. Yeah.
And when they come online in 2013 and 14, the question is what will happen. There's only about 2,500, 3,000 new apartments being needed a year. What's going to happen to the excess?
Well, let's talk about that in the next segment. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Maura and Harold in about 2 minutes. This is Jim Lowenstern. You'll listen to AM 1510, revolutionboston.com, and jimlowenstern.com as well for the podcasts. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
And you look through neighborhood after neighborhood. You go up and down streets, into cul-de-sacs, and around every bend. Then one day you slowly pull up and finally see it. Your house. At Wells Fargo, we're with you when you're ready to find the house. In fact, we're with you in every stage of home ownership, from planning to purchasing to well after you own your home. Our free preferred payment plan service is a great example. You can automatically tie your payment schedule to your paydays. It's convenient and completely free. The program may even help you pay off your mortgage faster. Let us help you find the mortgage that fits your needs. Talk with a Wells Fargo home mortgage consultant today. We're ready to help and answer all your mortgage questions. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. Wells Fargo Home Mortgage is a division of Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., equal housing lender.
For more information, please contact your local Wells Fargo home mortgage consultant, Jason Bonarigo, at 617-363-4617.
Is your home suffering from any sort of water damage? Are you in need of a proper roof replacement? If so, you need Capstone General Contracting. We specialize in water and fire restoration, roofing and siding, additions and remodeling. Offering valuable contracting services and exceeding your expectations is our promise. Contact us at 508-799-4463 or through our website, gccapstone.com.
Craig Taney is a full-service mortgage broker lender serving Greater Boston for the last 20 years. In 2009, Craig and his partners started Mortgage Equity Partners. MEP is a boutique home loan origination company that seeks out the most aggressive lenders for home mortgages and can offer the most competitive rates available in the market today. Call Craig directly for a personal consultation at 781-309-1805. Mortgage loan origination number 142580 and NMLS 1936.
Castles Magazine, an in-print and online magazine and database of exceptional properties, is available to you 24/7 at castlesmag.com. Considered by Google to be the online authority of luxury real estate, castlesmag.com is the best way to search for properties anywhere in the world when you are looking for your dream home and the best realtors to help you with your search. Castles Magazine and castlesmag.com. One in print and one online, and always at your service. Not just opening doors, opening the doors that you dream of.
When buying or selling a home, always be sure to use a local realtor who has the knowledge and experience to help you get the most from this market. Properly pricing your home is vitally important. Realtors value properties every day. They understand how best to show a home and can help enhance the saleability and sale price of your home. This message is brought to you by the over 19,000 realtor members in Massachusetts. Contact a local realtor today, and good luck in the search for your perfect home.
I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you about my town. I'm going to tell you a big fat story, baby. It's all about my town.
Okay, we're back. Singing about Boston. Here with Maura and Harold Brown. Our last segment. Harold, you did the first outdoor swimming pool in a project in Boston, the first rooftop pool?
Right. So 1925, Brighton was back in the early 60s.
Brighton Ave?
Right on Brighton Ave, corner of Brighton and Commonwealth Avenue. We know because I got an emergency call one day that a building inspector had fallen into a pit in the back of the building. It was a pit we were doing for a swimming pool.
Okay.
And at the time, the city of Boston didn't have a licensing for pools. They had to create it. And we finally got a license to build it.
So the inspector didn't see the hole
didn't see
because he didn't have a permit. You didn't have a permit. He didn't see.
He
it?
was looking at it and he fell into it. That's what happened.
Okay, the soil gave way. So what other firsts would you say that you're...
And then across the street, we built the first hotel in Olson called the Hamilton House, and on the roof we put a pool. It's the first rooftop pool in the city of Boston.
Any other firsts?
Not that I can think of offhand.
Stumping you with a question, that's the first.
Right.
He's never speechless.
So you mentioned that Downtown Crossing is coming back to life?
Yeah, well, thanks to the mayor. The mayor has been very instrumental in putting new life in Downtown Crossing. He's gotten the Filene's Basement building back on track. But we have a building right across from Filene's location that's an office building. We're converting it to apartments. It's in the process of being converted now.
Do you see any further price declines anywhere in the country or any amazing investment opportunities because of the economy?
As a matter of fact, as I say, we're about 25-30% up in the cycle, and anyone who's going to buy anything should buy it now. Multifamily or commercial, I think the prices have gone up substantially, but certainly single-family housing, this is the time to buy because next year the prices are going to be much higher.
Really? I've even heard reports that in places like Las Vegas, some property is up as much as 400% in the last 2 years.
Yes.
Like one-bedroom apartments you could have bought for $20,000 are now $80,000.
Right, absolutely. It's the same it's the same thing as happening in Florida. You got to move fast now. I mean, if we weren't in business here in Boston, I would move down to Florida and buy up everything.
Everything?
Everything.
Wow. Well, okay. So I guess that's...
The Charitable Foundation would buy everything.
Okay. So the question was, where would you invest these days if you had unlimited capital, which you do, and you would say Florida. Just anything.
Yes, if we didn't want to stay in Boston.
On the water or just anywhere?
Anywhere in Florida.
Just doesn't even matter.
They're on the rise quickly.
Okay, so Harold, I know you have an opinion on all the luxury building going on in Boston currently, and you touched on sort of like the inventory that's coming up that's going to be finished in the next year or so. Do you think there's enough, do you think the demographics of Boston has changed fast enough to absorb all those units?
Well, The Economist did a survey on that originally, and they estimate that Boston can absorb about 3,000 units a year for the next couple of years. So if you have 4,000 units coming online, there's going to be an overhang of about 1,000 units. And the question is, what will happen? If they can't rent the units, will they lower rents? In which case, we'll have to lower rents. Or will they just hold it till the market goes up again? That we'll know in a couple of years.
So is the Hamilton Company doing anything to leverage its position in that market, or are you cutting back on the building because there's so much competition?
No, because we do not do luxury apartments. We do moderate rent apartments. We want our rents to be way under the market.
Do you view any particular companies as your direct competition?
We have no competition.
Why is that?
Because no one has the facilities we have. We do our own construction. We do our own management. We make quick decisions, and no one can really compete with us.
Okay. That's interesting. Is that just in Boston, or?
Well, we don't. We deal only in Boston and suburbs. Okay. We won't go out of. Although we do have property in New Hampshire.
And nothing in Florida right now.
No.
Why do you think Florida is such a unique opportunity?
Because Florida was very overbuilt, and when the economy tanked and the real estate cycle went down, they were stuck with all these apartments. But the population still keeps increasing. There's been no new construction. The old supply and demand, and it's getting to be pretty equal now. So the price is going to start going up.
I actually started in brokerage in Palm Beach, Florida, back in the early 80s, dating myself a little bit. And, it was always boom and bust there.
Right.
And that was actually one of the problems when I was down there was a very strong dollar, or was it a weak dollar? No, I guess back then it was a strong dollar, and the European investments weren't coming in. So that was sort of a bust cycle. And speaking of cycles, so what would you say the longest up cycle has been that you've seen versus down cycles? This down cycle, would you say, was about 5 years?
No, this down cycle was about 3 years.
Well, that was pretty short.
It was short, yeah.
Was it? I mean, I think most cycles down are closer to 5 years.
Yes, right. But the last one
because it was so severe.
Was a doozy. Was so severe. This one wasn't so bad.
So in a cycle, if it's really the prices are really pounded and the economy is really pounded, government works to get things back faster. They actually go to work.
Right. As you mentioned before, interest rates are at a low time. They've never been this low.
I mean, I've heard that our economy currently is similar to maybe the Japanese economy from 20 years ago, and that we could have low interest rates for the next 20 years.
We could. I don't think we will, but I think we're in a recovery mode, and again, depending upon who our next president is, will determine what happens.
Why is that?
Well, because the current Washington attitude is really very socialistic, and all that may be very humanitarian. It doesn't work, and it doesn't stimulate new jobs. It doesn't stimulate the economy. And as you can see, what's happening to all the countries in Europe who have been going that way, they're going bankrupt. And if the new president is the person who understands business and the economy, I think the economy will really start booming in this country.
It sounds like you're leaning towards our past governor.
Yes, Mitt Romney.
Yeah. More, are you a Republican?
I'm independent, but I'm very much rooting for Mitt Romney.
Okay. For the same reasons?
The same reasons. I know him. I think he does a good job, and he's a proven success in the Olympics.
Didn't you teach his kids tennis?
Tennis, and his wife was a tennis partner of mine. So it's a personal thing, too. But he just did a great job with the Olympics, and, I mean, his past speaks for himself. So hopefully he'll be our new president, and Harold and I will be in the Lincoln bedroom.
Interesting. Okay, so you really think it makes a big difference. So if we had another 4 years of the Obama administration, you don't think the economy will improve as much as with...
the economy will go right down the drain if we have another 4 years
of
what's it's doing currently.
That's not good.
It makes no sense what they're doing. Just makes no sense whatsoever.
Okay. All right. So I guess if you ran for president, you would change things.
Absolutely.
What would be the first thing?
The first thing I would do is, which is one of many things, is, for example, raise the age that Social Security starts, which everyone thinks, they think, terrible. But, in fact, people are living longer. It makes more sense.
Right.
So if they just advance on 2 or 3 years, it won't make any difference.
Right, and it'll save a lot of money.
And you'll save the Social Security account. Things like that.
And anything drive you differently today than when you were 50, for example? I'm speaking to Harold. I know you're not 50 yet.
I think I live a more healthy existence, and more is very supplemental to that.
Most of the time.
Is making money sport? Do you enjoy it to that degree, it's almost like tennis?
No, I'd call it human nature.
Okay. What do you think?
Just the way I think.
What do you think of publicity? Do you like publicity?
I think everyone likes a certain amount of publicity.
Advantages as well as the disadvantages.
Right.
All right. If you could do one thing over again, do it differently, better, or not at all. Any thoughts, Harold?
Yes, you already said it. I would never have converted those thousands of units to condominiums. I'd be refinancing them now, reaping the rewards. Right.
Buy, develop.
You said it, Jim.
And hold. Okay. All right. Well, that's good advice. We're going to sort of segue out here. I want to thank my guests again, Harold and Maura. Maura, thank you. Harold,
thank you, Jim, for having us.
Thank you. I I want to say that next week, the Jim Lowenstern Show will be a live broadcast at 4 p.m. on 1510 a.m. and stream live at revolutionboston.com. I want you to like my show, The Jim Lowenstern Show, on Facebook, and please feel free to email your questions in through the comment function on jimlowenstern.com. I hope you enjoyed the show today, and I hope you check out the previous shows at the website, jimlowenstern.com. This is Jim Lowenstern. I hope that all of my listeners find all of their dreams right at home. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you all again next week. Different bat time, however, but the same bat channel. Bye.